Well, they just got into the playoffs, winning a game on a triple play. And at the same time, they helped the Phillies out as the Phillies were going through their hangover game last night. We're going to talk about it all next here on the PHLY Phillies podcast. Hello and happy Wednesday. Even though yesterday felt like Wednesday, today is actually Wednesday, Renee. Welcome into the PHLY Phillies podcast. Jamie Lynch, Renee Washington, Tyler Zulli here with you. And we, of course, are presented by Bet365. Find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Keep an eye out for our PHLY custom boosts. Every Eagles game coming up this football season. So make sure you're playing along. I'm 2 for 3. I get to make these parlays. And I've hit a plus 600 and a plus 550. So I'm just saying I got a little bit of a hot hand here.
I was gonna say, it's like you know what you're doing.
No gambler should ever say they know what they're doing because you will be humbled. Very, very. It's like golf. You can't say I put it all together and I figured out golf. Yeah. Because the next time you go out and swing, it'll be like you've never swung a club before in your life. Same thing with gambling. Never, ever say you cracked the code or you cracked the system because you will get humbled real quick.
Yeah, I mean, you've been doing well. You've been doing well. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Yeah, so
I don't want to jinx you.
Just keep your eye out for the PHLY.
Because we know about the Jags.
You know, if you agree with me,
Jaguars game.
The Jaguars Monday night was a total disaster.
Yeah.
The Jaguars and the Bengals. I'm just gonna neuralize myself and pretend like that never happened.
There you go.
Never happened. But welcome in, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Let's just start off by saying, if you're upset about last night's very unserious baseball game, you got to go outside and, as the kids say, touch some grass.
Yeah, that's bad.
That was not a serious experience last night. It hopefully is the last. We might have one other, depending on how Rob Thompson kind of manages the rotation leading into the playoffs. But a Tanner Banks, Taijuan Walker, and why am I blanking on the starter?
Colby?
Colby came in late. It was Tanner Banks started?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Colby came in late.
Yeah.
That is not a serious baseball game. And the results of it should have been expected. And the only mistake we made was not pouncing on Bet365 with the Cubs and the over last night.
I know.
It was a quasi-regular lineup too, but those pitchers, like, come on, that's not serious.
Yeah, that's the thing. The lineup itself was
pretty
regular.
Normal.
Yeah, I mean,
Outside
I didn't expect to see Stubbs. Well, I didn't expect to see, Marsh or Stott in the lineup, regardless. And so once I saw the lineup, I was like, okay, regular lineup. You got Austin Hayes back in the lineup, which was great. I know we'll talk about him some more. But when you look specifically at the pitching, once you knew Tanner Banks was the opener, and definitely once you saw Taijuan Walker coming out there in a moment that you don't ever want to see Taijuan Walker stepping out on there. Bases loaded, 1 out, second inning. Here comes Taijuan. It was not a serious game. I was glad to see Bryce Harper get the home run, 30 home run for the season. That's his 5th career time doing that. I was happy to see Kyle Schwarber get a home run. So I was like, okay, there's some positives. They scored some runs. They gave up 10 for a good buddy. You know that thing, you know. But nobody.
10 for a buddy?
10 for a good buddy.
Oh, 10 for a good buddy.
Yeah.
You said it so quick. I was like, what am I
10
missing?
for a good buddy.
Is that from something? I mean, I know it's an old trucker. Say, are you referencing a particular movie?
No, I don't think it's in a. It might be in a movie.
I feel like it's
somewhere it's in a movie.
I feel like that does sound like a movie line.
It definitely sounds like a. Yeah, I don't know. Wait,
was that Woody? Woody's from Toy Story is a good. Isn't he a buddy?
10
guy?
for a good buddy is. Well, it's okay. I'm gonna find it.
I feel like it is from something now that you've said it that way. Good buddy doesn't. I think Woody's a good buddy guy. Come on, Tyler.
Smokey and the Bandit.
Smokey and the Bandit. Yeah, I guess that's where it originates.
Okay.
Yeah,
Either way, while we figure that out,
that's probably it.
Sure.
We can move on.
Yeah. Now I'm more curious. But the point is, that game was not a game that you looked at and were like, oh man, the Phillies, how dare they? Blah blah blah. Like, you shouldn't be complaining. Scott, Chris, Jimmy, Mickey, Spiral, anybody else, happy Wednesday. There's no reason to like even look at yesterday's game. And I was just so happy.
Frankly, we all should have watched something else last night.
And honestly, what I was really happy about
we weren't doing a postgame.
We were not doing a postgame, guys. For everybody that says we're the postgame jinx, we did the postgame show when they won Monday night. A beautiful, fun, exciting game Monday night. And if we had did a postgame show last night, I think I would have attacked you guys.
I might have just quit and walked away because I
think I would have cursed you guys out.
Doing a post-game show after a Taijuan Walker experience, I will say this. Last time Anthony asked me, do you feel bad for Taijuan Walker? My answer is no, because he's getting paid handsomely, and a lot of athletes have sucked throughout the history of time and go through what he's going through, so it's not unique to him. Last night, he almost, when Garrett Stubbs came out to give him the pump-up talk and he was talking into his glove, he almost looked like I did start to have the human emotion for him. He looked like he wanted to be anywhere else in the world.
And
he knows he's got nothing. So my heart did break a little bit for Taijuan.
Taijuan Walker has showed us time and time again he doesn't need to be out there anymore. They keep putting him out there. And I think what makes it worse, and I know our buddy Rich Hoffman, go ahead, do your plug. Do your normal
Rich's
line.
morning newsletter is awesome. Subscribe to it. It's free. Go to allphly.com. It's right there. Sign up for it. Rich kicks ass. His morning newsletter is awesome.
Rich in his newsletter shared some things, and Todd's Lucky shared some things, and it's really eye-opening when you think about not only has Taijuan Walker been bad, he's been one of the worst. He's had one of the worst ERAs in like the history of it. I was gonna let you do it, but I will say, in his performance last night. Overall, before I'll tee you up, with his 7.10 ERA this season, the highest for any Phillies pitcher since 1931 that pitched a minimum of 80 innings, and the 7th highest ERA in the majors in the past 10 years that Taijuan Walker has hit. So not only is he bad, guys, this is one of the worst ERAs we've seen in a decade.
Really
Let's think about where we were a decade ago. I was just graduating college. A lot has changed in a decade, and in that time, we've only seen
I was
six
also graduating
pitchers.
college, yeah.
We've only seen six pitchers have a worse ERA. And with that, I know Rich also looked into the ridiculous numbers of guys that have had a worse ERA than Taijuan Walker, Jamie.
Yeah. Tyler, can you tell me right now with confidence before I read these numbers that Taijuan Walker won't be in spring training next year?
Oh.
Won't be in spring training?
Because I think he's gonna be.
I think he will. I don't know if they have much of an option otherwise.
That's
it's to eat the money and say
So
goodbye.
that's the thing is, if we talked about this before,
or are we gonna hear in the offseason, he's rehabbing, he's going through a program,
I think that's what it's gonna be.
Velocity's back up, there's belief that the splitter's coming back.
Yeah.
And they're going to give him a chance.
No,
That's like 100% certain.
I think we've talked about this before. If this was the final year of his deal, they would have DFA'd him already. You have 2 years left on a fairly substantial, a sizable, substantial contract.
$36 million.
And at this point, I'm not sure you're going to get anybody to take any semblance of money.
No.
Or the
There's
player.
one option here.
So
He's
I
not
think
going anywhere.
you're going to see him in spring training. I don't know what kind of wording or rationale that they're going to use, but he's going to be back.
Uptick,
Sure.
He's healthy again.
Andrew Painter is also expected to pitch next season. Not to jump ahead.
He would be an all-star time.
But he's not going to be ready for the season.
He's not
anyway.
going to be ready for the start. But what they could also, as a way to justify keeping Taijuan Walker, is this is a temporary test, and they know they've got Andrew Painter that should be able to pitch. So if it doesn't work out, Andrew Painter instantly bumps ahead of him. If it does work out, you get something out of him. You don't eat the money. I think it's coming, guys, because the number 5 starter is going to be something in the offseason that we'll be keeping an eye on, of like what small. It won't be a major move they would make. You have to bring in, like how you brought in a Spencer Turnbull. You have to bring in some cheaper deals for a guy that could possibly slide in the number 5 spot if Andrew Painter doesn't get back. Or when before Andrew Painter gets back, I should say. So
you need a first half of the season rental.
I think that's where they're going to try to justify Taijuan Walker because they know you have Andrew Painter.
I can't do it.
I know. I'm so sorry, guys. I think that's the reality. Taijuan Walker probably will be on this opening day roster, guys. They already have a built-in backup
It's
plan.
Over. It's over. For
Sorry.
his own mental wellness, he needs to go away.
He
looked cooked. Like he looked like a man that was like seeing ghosts last night. It's
bad.
Over.
And they keep putting him out there. And this man,
real
he has
bad.
struggled time and time again, and I feel bad.
So here's Rich's morning newsletter. You should subscribe to this. But I just ripped this because it's bad what Taijuan Walker went through this year, and maybe you believe it could get better. I'm willing to eat John Middleton's money. It's not my money.
Not my money either. I don't care what you do with it. That money's gone.
So these are Rich's words. Walker has an unfathomable, as Renee mentioned, 7.10 ERA in 83 and 2/3 innings this year. So Rich, plug the numbers into StatHead. How many Phillies pitchers have had over a 6 ERA and over 50 innings pitched in their career? Then I saw how common that was in the 20s and 30s, and I cannot believe Jimmy Wilson running poor Reggie Grabowski out there every 5 days changed the parameters to 1980 on. So since 1980...
Those are real people.
Yeah, real people. Of course. Love 20s Phillies baseball. The 4 guys with worse ERAs than Taijuan Walker. Mike Grace in 1999 had a 7.69 ERA.
This would be a fun trivia question that I don't think anybody's going to get, because you would have to go to like the recesses of your brain.
One of these guys is very well known.
What made me
2 is a very high former Phillies prospect.
Well, Mike Grace's ERA was just as high as my age at that time in '99. I was also 7, and he had a 7 ERA.
So you don't remember that season, huh?
No, but that's pretty wild.
Mike Grace and
your age a person's age should never be the same as someone's ERA unless they're crawling around or.
Gavin Floyd in 2006 had a 7.29 ERA. Calvin Maduro in 1997 had a 7.23. And shockingly, Brad Lidge in 2009, the ultimate roller coaster career of greatness to bad baseball. Brad Lidge in 2009 had a 7.21 ERA.
What was the parameter? 50 innings pitched?
50 innings pitched.
I am stunned that Adam Eaton did not make that list.
Yeah.
Rich goes on. I remember Lidge struggling like crazy in 2009, but I do not remember it being that bad. The 2 guys from the 90s I had never heard of, and believe it or not, Roy Halladay's 2013 season is next on the list behind Walker. Yeah. Adam Eaton's 2007, which for many is the gold standard of crappy modern Phillies pitching seasons, only yielded a 6.29 ERA, Tyler.
Oh, that's all.
Yeah.
Better than Taijuan.
Yeah. The bad part about that was it was 161 innings. So
it's a lot more. It's a lot more torture.
So Rich, puts into context how bad of a season Taijuan Walker's having. I, for one, just never want to see him in a Phillies uniform again. Nothing personal. Enjoy your money. Farewell. Sayonara. But I think a lock is he's going to be in camp next year. Fun.
Yeah, I just, when you look at it bigger picture, I know it's bad when we were watching game after game, and we've had so many shows that we've had ourselves saying, is this the last time we're going to see Taijuan Walker? Is this the last time? And we thought that in August, honestly. And yet we keep seeing Taijuan Walker, and whenever he steps out there, what makes it worse is it's a guaranteed loss. As soon as he came out there yesterday, second inning was awful. The 6 runs given up. Taijuan Walker can't pitch as a starter. He can't pitch out of the bullpen, and he's not helping in any situation. It's very frustrating because we are seeing and we're knowing every time he comes out there what to expect.
It's bad in practice.
The good thing that does help is, fortunately, thank goodness, the Phillies did a good enough job of setting themselves up that they had wiggle room to have, to have some of these losses, because if this was a situation where the season's tighter, I don't think we would see Taijuan Walker at all, but it still makes me very upset. What are you going to see?
I mean, you're going to take your lumps with Tyler Phillips.
What are your other options? So it's like right now,
he really failed this organization.
This is something that for the offseason you have to keep an eye on of, okay, pitching-wise, top 4 are great. We'll keep an eye on what happens, of course, with like a Ranger Suarez, but they've got to figure out the pitching staff in terms of that number 5 starter.
Yeah, with Andrew Painter coming, you're kind of screwed.
Right, and you had the opportunity, and we're fortunate enough to jump out to such a big lead across Major League Baseball with the first half of the season. It afforded you a chance to have these stumbles, but you can't have that all season. Like, fortunately, Taijuan was on the IL for a lot of the season, twice. that helped us out not having to see him.
Yeah, they hit him on the IL. The only mistake last night was not betting against Taijuan Walker.
Yeah.
And if you're going to be betting against Taijuan Walker every game, if he's back in Major League Baseball next year, just bet against him every game. Maybe the splitter will come back. I doubt it, though. But when you bet, you should be betting with Bet365. Use code PHLY365 at sign up. Great moment happened last night in our Discord. Shout out to our man Trizzolini. He bet the Chicago Cubs on Bet365. He was smart enough to use promo code PHLY365. And he asked the question, honestly, in Discord, why did I get cashed out already? And I said, Triz, I'm assuming you bet the Cubs because they went up 7 runs. And with the best early payout offers across sports betting, you'll get paid out, boom, right there on the spot. It was the 7th inning, and Triz couldn't believe he had already gotten cashed out on his Cubs ticket. So it's no BS. It's amazing. So you can get that money. You can do whatever you want with it. Boom. Even if the Cubs came back and blew that lead last night, you're still cashed out your winnings. It's a great feature. And right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Use that promo code PHLY365 at sign up. Deposit $10 and place a bet for $5 to get your $200 in bonus bets. Bonus bets can be paid or can be used on spreads, totals, player props, futures, and more. They have NHL early payout offers, basketball early payout offers, football, and of course, baseball as well. They have Saturday sluggers. You can find out why Big League Tuesdays are some of the best offers going. They have so much stuff going on at Bet365. So download the Bet365 app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Get those $200 in bonus bets when you bet $5. Whatever the moments, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older and physically located in PA. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
Yeah, as Mickey Durkin's mentioning, most teams do have the same issue. There are a lot of teams that are having struggling pitching issues, especially with the number 5. We don't have the answers for that, but there is a place that has the answers if you had, let's say, a leaky pipe. That's with our friends over at Ace Hardware. Ace is the place. They've got all the tremendous customer service that you need with experts, professionals that are there to help you when you walk in the door, to guide you and direct you in the right direction of which aisle, which item you're looking for, which piece of, if you're looking for to fix an air conditioning issue, a leaky pipe, whatever is going on, Ace is the place that has the hardware for you. And over at Ace Hardware, they have a person for everything. They have also the ability that you're going to find all the specifics you need of the nuts and bolts and anything that you're looking to do in your house. I'm a big fixer-upper myself. I do a lot of projects in my house, and I love the fact that a place like Ace Hardware has everything you need. One spot to find whatever you're looking for those renovations, projects, upgrades, or anything you're looking to fix. Leaky pipe, don't worry about it. Air conditioning issue, they've got a person for that also. A faucet that needs fixing, got that as well. Plumbing, heating, cooling. They've got the trusted people and the professionals to help keep your home feeling great and working well all year long. And also at Ace Hardware, they're going to make sure that whatever the job is, they're going to have the experience and they're going to have the materials that you need. They've got local plumbers and tech that actually handle everything from repairs and seasonal maintenance to also installations and upgrades. They also are going to make sure to listen to you and get you what you need by giving you that great customer service to make sure not only are they helping you in the beginning of the process, but they're seeing it all the way through until the job is completed and you are satisfied with the renovations and the upgrades and the fixes that they've done. And they want to just be helpful because it can be so stressful when you're dealing with a plumbing issue, an air conditioning issue, whatever is going on in your home. And we know houses can be money pits. And so with Ace Hardware, you don't have to worry about having to figure out and struggle for a long time. You go right to them, they give you the support you need, and they're going to help you out with any project or repairs that need to be done in your house. So again, from plumbing to heating to cooling, at Ace Hardware, check them out and visit them online. You can visit Ace Hardware Services online at www.acehardwarehomeservices.com to get started on your next project. Again, acehardwarehomeservices.com to help you get started on your next project with our friends over at Ace Hardware.
All right, welcome in. If you're just joining us to the PHLY Phillies show presented by Bet365. That was fun recapping. It was therapeutic to go through how terrible Taijuan Walker was last night. Hopefully we don't get to see him again, but we probably will. The best part of last night was Bryce Harper hitting another moonshot there. His power returning before the playoffs is about as good of a thing that could happen to the Phillies universe. Him and Aaron Nola look like they're kind of dialed in here heading into the playoffs, and that is a great thing to have happen. So the positive last night to me in an otherwise meaningless game was Bryce Harper went deep to right center. Just a beautiful thing.
It was awesome to see because we've been keeping an eye on Bryce Harper, obviously, and following how he's progressing. He's one of those guys, as we talked about time and time again, that you're going to need come playoff time to be in a good place, mentally as well as physically. And for Bryce Harper, the hiccups that we've seen throughout the course of this season regarding his elbow and the wrist, we've been keeping an eye on just how he's working through that. We knew time off wasn't going to be an option for him. So it's good to see the Powers getting back. Was it 407 feet on that home run? I believe it was.
Yeah, something like that.
And so for Bryce Harper to also have an opportunity in the regular season to get his 30th home run, huge, that's that moment of like, okay, I got this. It's been a much better September for Bryce Harper in terms of home runs. He already was hitting well. So it's like the pieces for him are also coming together. And right on cue, as you mentioned, him, Nola, these are the guys that you're keeping an eye on and needing to get consistently.
Rangers the next one. Hopefully this is true that the team, noticed he wasn't using his legs as much as he should be in his delivery. Yep. Hopefully they can, give us a sign that Rangers got some life. Tyler, what's your positive Ranger expectancy on his next start?
Well, that was middling, I guess, in terms of, I thought his last start was his best start, I thought.
Yes.
Since his return.
His velo was up across the board, I believe.
To return to Bryce Harper for just a second, like we talked about how good he was despite the power sap, right? Mm-hmm. The OBP was up, the average was up in the 300s for like a 30-game sample size, despite the fact that he hadn't hit a home run. Last night, though, maybe more important than the home run and the distance at which he hit the home run, that ball got off his bat at almost 110 miles an hour. Mm-hmm. He crushed that pitch.
Yeah.
And it was like a screaming liner. It got out in a hurry. And that's the kind of swing that, like, when he's on, he is, and it doesn't necessarily have to translate to home runs, but he is hitting the ball at exceptional exit velocity rates. His average exit velo is up to the 83rd percentile this year, which is amazing considering A, he's missed time, and B, we there was a stretch where he was, picking up base hits and picking up doubles, and his average was great. We talked about how important it was for him to stay steady even when the power was not there, but he wasn't hitting the ball nearly as hard. He's back to hitting the ball much harder. His exit velos over the last couple of weeks have risen back to a point where, like we said, he's at the 83rd percentile now. It's really impressive to see a guy go through multiple phases of himself within a season and be successful in just about every one. Because outside of that blip where he had a little bit of a downturn in July, August he was good despite no power. Now
he's player of the month in what? April
and May and June or something along those lines. The power was there, then it wasn't. Now it's starting to come back, but through it all, I mean, he's really only had one downturn portion of his season, and it was that
and he
stretch
was playing through injury.
It was that stretch in July.
It was a bad wrist and a bad elbow, too.
And also, I wanted to get the exact number because with the now accomplishment of his 5th career season of 30 home runs or more, that's 4 home runs, 8 RBIs in the last 11 days. 9 if you want to go back an extra day that we've seen from Bryce Harper. We've talked about it. The numbers have been there, but now he's also getting a chance to see himself, whether it's an RBI or even just a home run, helping to score. So it's nice because I think all of these things are coming together for Bryce Harper.
Everything seems to be.
And it seems like he's definitely getting through whatever
Nola
issues.
and Harper were probably, Harper's power, I should say, were probably your 2 biggest question marks. Tyler, we had a super chat there, I believe, from Frank Barber. If you can flash that up again. Let's see if my old man eyes can fight through the lights and read this.
You're not an old man. You're a young woman.
Jamie, please address the allegations of you fanboying in the locker room Monday night. I don't know what you're talking about, Frank. Somebody talking about me out there?
Really? Because I saw this.
Oh, you hacked into my phone.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, I was a selfie machine on Monday night when I was doing the post-game show. You guys didn't notice what was going on in the background?
I know. I didn't
green
realize
screen was that good on Monday night?
Your green screen was so good Monday night. Listen,
because I was right there. That's me. Right?
I know K-Red was earlier mentioning that I was getting on you for being old, but I got to give you some credit because you did something that I know myself and Tyler could never do. You managed to be on the post-game show live. We started in the 8th inning.
Really good noise canceling.
Yeah,
your
live
audio
on the
quality was
show
great.
starting in the bottom of the 8th inning. through the celebrations, and you were so composed.
Yeah,
I had no idea you were also in the clubhouse
really
during
good
that
microphone
show.
I had with me.
So great. And somehow you managed to be able to
dry
capture.
too.
When were you even taking your selfies? With during the ad reads? Like, I'm so impressed.
Stick. I'm a big selfie stick guy.
This guy
Carry it with me
Next
everywhere.
level, man.
Yeah.
You were literally locked in on the computer and also in the mix fanboying.
Yeah.
How do you do it?
Like,
Teach me your ways.
When the guys are taking their shirts off and partying, I got to be there. I got to fanboy out. So I made sure that I had all the technology I needed to work.
What
while
did you
still
do?
fanboying. I thought
what
that
did
was
you do
really
about
important.
them dumping beyond your head? I didn't even notice.
I had a bubble. It was like, remember in COVID when restaurants did like the bubbles outside? I was basically like bubble boy. And I had like a studio built in the bubble, but it had a selfie stick.
That makes sense. Because I was going to ask you, how was your quality of your photos so much better than the rest of the photo?
Well, the selfie stick was outside the bubble, but I could maneuver it inside. I spared no expense in creating my fanboy bubble, my fanboy media bubble, to get down into the locker room. Because, all I seek is the respect of real baseball guys, Tyler. So I had to go.
I am actually picturing all this, and that's what's making this even funnier.
Yeah,
I'm picturing.
Pretty good picture, right? Like the bubble boy with my
let's
selfie
check in
stick.
with bubble boy Jamie Lynch.
Well, you are a boy. You are young. You are young, right?
It's 2024. You can do wonders these days. Yeah,
I'm thoroughly impressed, Jamie, because we were live on the show, and I had no idea. It's crazy because we were on the show with him for an hour. We talked a little bit before him. We talked a little bit after, and never did I even pick up on the fact you weren't home. I thought you were home.
I'm a pro.
I didn't even know that. Oh my gosh, you are such a pro's pro.
Thank you. Yes, Ed Wright.
Impressive.
Moops. I believe that's Moors. There are no moops.
Super impressive. But it is.
Thank you for acknowledging my hard work Monday night, guys.
You know what? You're always raising the bar. That's what I respect about you as a true journalist.
Yeah.
You always
Real
raise the
baseball
bar,
guy,
and you do
people are
such a
saying.
really good job.
People are like, "Wow, there goes a baseball guy. Look at his dedication."
Such a baseball guy.
To talking about baseball.
I'm impressed. I just
need to talk more vertical spin rate and
just taking notes. Yeah, I'm just taking notes always.
One day I'll get there. Maybe we can talk about some WXOBicon. Tyler, what's your favorite? The WXO bacon.
WXO bacon, yeah.
Wexobicon.
I don't know how you pronounce it. I've seen it a million times. I've started to understand what the stat is a little bit, but I don't know. Is it XWO bacon?
Guess who wants to hear about Wexobicon? No one.
It's like VORP in the NBA.
I love VORP in the NBA.
Oh, that sounds like it's the right way to pronounce it. And you know where also is the right way to go to make sure you're getting all that you need around flu season? It's our friends over at Rite Aid, because, guys, 'tis the season. I just stocked up on some cold medication and made sure to get ahead of the curve. You also want to make sure you're being proactive in getting your flu shots and vaccinations prepared, because if you are somebody that is interested in getting a flu shot, it's not for everybody. Not everybody goes the vaccine route and the flu shot route. If you are interested, though, Rite Aid is the place to go to get it done, because you don't want to have to worry about missing out on all the fun. Jamie was so dedicated. He was in the clubhouse in a bubble. Whatever you've got to do to be in the big moments,
I had my
guys,
Rite Aid snacks,
you've got to be.
Elo Market. I was eating gummies, too, while broadcasting.
Is it Elo or Elo?
Elios,
no,
Elios,
we'll get there in a second.
Apple,
but with the flu shots at Rite Aid, they give you the opportunity, so you don't have to worry about missing the big moments. Halloween's coming up, Thanksgiving's coming up. It's all fall festivals. It's time to be out at farms picking pumpkins, baking pies, going out and making sure your house is decorated with all the pumpkin spice, getting your pumpkin spice coffee, and to be able to enjoy all these little things. You want to stay healthy to do it. So with Rite Aid, they have all that you need, because the CDC does recommend getting a flu shot every year. They also say that a person's immune system does decline over time from the vaccine. So you do need to make sure to continue to get that regularly, annually, just to help protect yourself from the flu. And also for children, according to the CDC, flu vaccination actually reduces a child's risk of severe life-threatening influenza by 75%. So with the flu shot, you're helping to protect your family, you're helping to protect those you love and those you care about, as well as yourself. Flu viruses are constantly changing. They're always evolving into some different versions of the flu. So you want to also make sure to get your annual flu shot to stay ahead of the curve, to be proactive. So when you are there to see the pharmacist, to make sure you can get to your flu vaccine, stock up on their cold medicine. They've got some great over-the-counter medications for you. Again, I just did it myself. You want to make sure you're being prepared. And also, you can just walk right into your local Rite Aid or schedule at riteaid.com. State, age, and health restrictions may apply, but ask your Rite Aid pharmacist for details to get to your flu vaccines today.
Yeah, and let me tell you about something I'll be putting in my body tomorrow and Friday, and that's Z-Biotics, because I have a 10-year anniversary coming up, and I plan on hitting some wines, 2-3 wines Friday night. Thursday night, I'm going to see one of my favorite bands, and my wife already offered to drive, so that means I'm going to have a couple more beverages. And I'm going to get ahead of the curve here and take Z-Biotics because, look, as I get up there in age, you don't bounce back the same way you used to. And with 2 young kids waking me up at 6:30 in the morning, sometimes 7 if I'm lucky, I need all the help I can get getting out of bed in the morning after a parent's night out. So let me tell you, there's a surefire way to wake up feeling fresh after a night of drinking, and it's with pre-alcohol. Z-Biotics is a pre-alcohol prebiotic drink, and it's the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists who were tackling the tough issues that we needed. Better mornings, waking up, feeling refreshed. And here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in your gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. Listen to the PhD scientists. Use Z-Biotics. Don't listen to me. Those PhD scientists know what they're talking about. I'm just a guy that gets to reap the benefits. I keep hearing about the pre-alcohol and wondered what it was actually like. Now that I've tried it, I believe the hype. Me and my wife love it. And with their GMO technology, they'll release different products that help address different toxic byproducts in modern living. It's just great stuff. So you yourself can, basically wake up feeling more refreshed using Z-Biotics. You can get 15% off when you go to use the code PHLY Phillies at zbiotics.com/PHLY Phillies. Take my word for it. Z-Biotics. All right, welcome back into the PHLY Phillies podcast presented by Bet365. Find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. I have my Z-Biotics lined up. I'm ready. Thursday and Friday. I got back-to-back nights out. I gotta feel fresh.
Wow, yeah. Even more impressive. You're just juggling and managing so many things.
Yeah. I mean,
10-year anniversary.
Would you like to put your PTO in now, or should we wait till Friday afternoon?
Bubble Boy on Monday, 10-year husband of the year.
It's quite a week for you. I'm
husband
impressed,
of the decade.
Jamie.
A lot of people are calling me that.
Okay. Taiwan Walker might be one of the worst ERAs in the decade, but you're husband of the decade. You're raising the bar, not lowering it. I like that for you. Well done. Well done.
Couple other things to get
Was
into.
that a direct quote from your wife, or were you paraphrasing?
Okay.
Some people say, Tyler.
She definitely said that. Austin Hayes returned to the lineup last night. I'm curious to see what he gives you over these next 5 or so games. I guess you're putting him in, so you want to be able to count on him. I guess situationally, maybe we see some Marsh Hayes platoon come playoff time.
Mm-hmm.
Can't say I have that much confidence that it's good he's back. He's over his infection. That's positive.
Yeah.
I don't know what we'll get from him come playoff time. I don't know how eager I am to inject him in the lineups. Brandon Marsh had a really good late August and September here.
Mm-hmm.
I am curious what Rob does. I mean, maybe he just goes by the splits. Brandon Marsh just kind of showed up here the last month, so you feel good about him heading into the playoffs. I don't know if you need to force a platoon if it's not needed.
Yeah, and so obviously the timing of Austin Hayes returning from his kidney infection was difficult because Lehigh Valley and minor league ball is done. So for Austin Hayes to be able to get back and be able to showcase what he can do, it was either being able to play to close out the regular season or being able to get some simulated games and things like that he would do on his own. So it's nice that he's able to at least get back in this final. We've got one more series after this one versus the Nationals. So it gives him a chance to get back and show a little bit of something, but it's not enough time, especially knowing that when Austin Hayes was out, he was dealing with leg soreness, weakness. He's taking a lot of antibiotics. As we all know, whenever you're taking a lot of medication, it just drains you. So I'm happy that he's back in the sense that glad he was able to recover from his kidney infection. That was awful to hear about. Glad that he's able. He put some tunes on. Mm-hmm. Glad he was able to get back in general. Our buddy Cal Stevenson, who did a tremendous job, did get optioned down. Yeah, so that in itself is difficult. Cal. But they have mentioned they're going to keep some guys close that are in the pipeline to have training and prepare just in case they're needed, because now we're starting to look ahead of the playoff roster. Who's going to make the playoff roster? Of course, there is also how many pitchers do you want to carry versus how many bench pieces, all the different stipulations that come into it. And we know what they've done in the past. And now it's a matter of, does Austin Hayes fit as a platoon piece? Is he ready? All these question marks that we have a very short sample size to try to figure out.
Yeah, I would think Austin Hayes makes it as a bench piece, right-handed bat. Yeah. I'm curious then when he does make it, like how much does Rob if you see Chris Sale, let's say in the NLDS, or somebody that's left-handed, does he go Austin Hayes over Brandon Marsh? He probably will. I don't know. Brandon Marsh to me has been really impressive the last 4 weeks. So I don't know how I feel about a platoon. It's not that, you won a World Series in 2008 with platoons. It's not the end of the world. But Scott Lauber from the Philadelphia Inquirer was noting on Twitter last night during the game, end of the roster stuff. These decisions, ideally you're not going to see a Colby Allard or a Tyler Phillips or a Taijuan Walker in the playoffs. Ideally, Brandon Marsh plays so well, you don't need a platoon. Ideally, everybody's killing it, and you barely need pinch hitters. But that's not the case. So Scott Lauber points out in 2022, the Phillies carried 13 pitchers in the NLDS. Number 12 and 13 were Nelson and Gibson. In 2023, the Phillies carried 13 pitchers in the NLDS. 12 and 13 were Walker and Lorenzen. You didn't need them. You didn't see them because they were that bad. In 2024, if the Phillies only carry 12 pitchers in the NLDS, as is expected, who's the 12, Scott Lauber says? Allard, ? Gilbert, ? Not Walker, right?
Ooh.
It's not a good situation.
Yikes.
I mean, I would give it to Colby Allard personally. At least he has a curveball that's making guys miss a little bit right now. I'll take my chances with Colby Allard over Tyler Gilbert.
The other one is Spencer Turnbull, if he can get. But he's not. We haven't seen him.
Nah.
They have mentioned that he could potentially be back for a playoff roster spot. But how do you put him into a playoff roster spot when we haven't seen him in a game?
Yeah, if you haven't seen him in a game situation, you're not going to debut him in the NLCS.
Right. That's not the time.
And if you're seeing Spencer Turnbull at that point, that means somebody really imploded and it's quite bad. I would go Colby Allard over Taijuan Walker. This is real gross stuff. I mean, deciding a final roster spot between these three. But again,
you said Tyler Gilbert as another one.
Yes, Allard, Gilbert, and Walker, who we speculated. Those are probably the three. I'm going Colby Allard if I'm Dave Dombrowski.
I'm gonna just pull up Gilbert's most recent stats because it's not great. But the thing is, he hasn't imploded as badly as Taijuan and Colby have, but he also just hasn't been put in nearly as big of a situation. My Wi-Fi is taken for. Oh, there we go. So he does have on this season right now. Okay, in the last 7 games for Tyler Gilbert, he's had a 2.84 ERA. In this 5 games, he's only pitched 6 1/3 innings, but given up 8 hits, 2 earned runs, a walk, 3 strikeouts with a 1.42 WHIP. I just don't think I've seen enough of Tyler Gilbert to even truly. I've seen. It's all bad. It's all bad.
You have to choose the best of the worst. Tyler, what's your decision? Final answer.
Allard, and the reason it's Allard is he's left-handed.
Yeah,
that's it. That's really the only. I mean, I don't like. Again, if you're throwing
his curveball's decent.
If you're throwing any of these guys, it's mop-up duty, and if you're throwing any of these guys,
if you're seeing them,
it's out of hand, and you've given up. Like that means that either Sanchez or Suarez or whatever has given up a multitude of runs, and that also probably means not only has the starter given up a multitude of runs, Jose Ruiz or Tanner Banks probably gave up a multitude of runs because you're going to go to them next in a playoff situation. Even if it is maybe a 5-0 game or something like that, because you're literally trying to scratch and claw your way back. None of those options excite me. Taijuan Walker Taijuan Walker probably will be. I could see it being him because of him being a vet, and that
they might.
I think that maybe means something to Rob Thompson. But if I'm making the choice strictly because of Colby Allard being left-handed, I would probably go to him. And he's also a different look. Like you guys said, his curveball plays a little bit. He's a junk baller. You could almost maybe get away with
the minimum requirement of batters.
Well, no, not that. But what I'm saying is like it speeds somebody's bat up a couple times, once through the order. And again, we're talking about guys that are going to be coming into a 5-0, 6-1,
yeah, that's the other thing. Like
game.
you're not seeing them in a situation where the game's close
right,
at all.
and they're going to be expected to eat innings. So strictly because of being left-handed, I would probably go out.
And I don't know if they're gonna have as a coaching staff to your point about Taijuan being a veteran, he was on the roster as we know, and the only guy that did not play last year in the playoffs. I don't know if they're gonna
and he bitched about it.
Right, but like at this point, I'd rather just don't put him on the roster at all because you don't expect to have to play this. Whoever this guy is of the three that's chosen, you don't expect to have to play them either way. Don't put him on the roster, but I don't know if they're gonna try to go, as you mentioned, veteran move. It's the playoffs. We don't owe anybody anything at this point. It's about who's going to help you win games, and none of these three are going to do that.
So what is neither?
Neither of these guys will do that for you. But I don't know. It doesn't matter who. Flip a coin.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting that Cal got sent down, and Weston Wilson and him were probably the deciding factors there.
I think they made the decision there.
Yeah,
Weston Wilson's made the playoff
Weston
roster.
Wilson's going to be on the playoff roster.
Yeah, that's a good decision.
I thought Cal had a slight chance, maybe because of the lefty aspect, and
he was getting some good center field starts.
Yeah, but
they
Weston
tried
Wilson
him in some different
decision
spots.
has been made. Cal's back down to Clearwater in that lovely weather.
So let me ask you guys a question because we started this conversation about Austin Hayes. If you brought up a pinch hitter against a left-handed pitcher, if you're going to Hayes,
Sosa or Hayes, right?
Well, no, I'm going to ask you: are you going to go to Hayes or are you going to go to Wilson?
Oh, actually, I think I would go to Wilson.
I think it depends on the situation, right?
Like if I need some pop against a lefty, I think I might be.
Wilson, if you need pop, I think if you need
look.
somebody to get on base, give you a good at bat, I'd probably go Sosa. Like if it's a leadoff situation versus a runner in scoring position.
Mm-hmm.
These are the decisions Rob's going to get.
Yeah.
Held to. Rob's going to have a tough playoffs if they don't advance, to another World Series, because every decision he makes these playoffs, because the Phillies have such a good chance to win, is going to be under a gigantic microscope. So, those types of situations. Is it Sosa? Is it Wilson? Do you go to Tanner Banks if somebody implodes in the fourth, or Jose Ruiz?
Man.
Everything's going to be under a microscope. So those are some of the roster nerdisms there. Hopefully whoever does take those 12th and 13th, I doubt there's a 13th. You can barely get to 12.
Yeah.
Hopefully you never see
There
them.
should not be a 13th.
No, I'd rather have the extra bat at that point.
Definitely.
Yesterday, the Phillies gave out a couple awards within the organization. Just want to give a quick nod to those because always cool. The Paul Owens Award winners for your best offensive and pitching prospects in the system go to Justin Crawford and Castellano. Really, Justin Crawford, what a great kid. We sat down with him at spring training. Had a tremendous year. Rose the ranks, several levels, did it all over the place. He's never going to be a power hitter, but he is a very intriguing prospect.
Mm-hmm.
He cracked the top 50 across Major League Baseball in terms of prospects. So next year is going to be a really exciting year, as probably, if Painter comes up, and Aiden Miller's thriving too, but Justin Crawford is, a top 3 most exciting piece that the Phillies have.
He is just 20 years old. We've obviously, as we've talked about many times, had a chance to chat with him. You can just even hear kind of his mindset, mentality, how mature he is, especially as the son of his dad, who Carl was fantastic. And
good to see you.
Yeah, to learn from his dad, Carl Crawford, you can see how that's translated into his game. So he had some great numbers this season. Justin did finish first in the Eastern League in batting average, tied for second in hits and stolen bases with 15 stolen bases, 55 hits, tied for third in doubles, 5th in OPS, 6th in slugging percentage, 7th in total bases, 8th in on-base percentage, and tied for 8th in RBI. He's someone that has the speed, the ability to steal bags, but also they worked a lot on his pop, a lot on his at-bats in general. And then on the other side for Iverson Castellano, who had a solid season, 23 years old, went 6-5 with a 3.99 ERA. He actually led all Phillies minor league pitchers in strikeouts with 11.81 batters per 9. And he had a 31.3% strikeout rate compared to a 6.7% walk rate. had a great season for both of them. Congratulations to them. And also on the coaching side, there were some awards given out as well. And I just want to give a nod to these guys because they were a big part of not only the minor league system, but some guys that we're seeing in the majors
Our
right
man
now.
Travis Hergert.
So we had Brian Colsheen selected as the 2024 Dallas Green Award winner. He is the Phillies Midwest Regional Supervisor, and during his tenure as somebody involved with the scouting side,
I was going to say, did he find his bone?
He did.
Midwest.
So under Colsheen, he has been involved with signing players Michael Bourne, J.A. Happ, Ryan Howard, 2024 first-round pick
pretty good.
Dante Nori, and Alec Boehm.
Dante Nori started out really well this year.
He did. So congrats to him on that.
Alone. Hell, man. You
Boehm
deserve
alone.
a ton of awards for that one.
Yeah, and then Chris Heinz was selected as the John Vukovic Award winner for 2024 because he was also involved as a hitting coach in Clearwater. Chris was involved with helping the Clearwater be able to lead the Florida State League in batting average, on-base percentage, OPS the last 2 years. And he also, during his time, has helped assist the development of Rafael Marchand, Johan Rojas, Alec Boehm, Starlin Caba, Justin Crawford, Aiden Miller, Dante Nori, and Eduardo Tait. So congrats to everybody that got some awards this season because it's been a good one.
And did you mention Schwarber?
I did not mention Schwarber.
And Kyle Schwarber gets all-around good guy, going to go down as one of the most beloved guys ever in that building to wear a Phillies uniform. Kyle Schwarber, you can't find a bad word said about the guy. Does great work in the community. He's always down the street at yards doing, the Schwarber's Heroes, the meet and greets with first responders. All-around great guy gets the Community Service Award. So that's always a very distinguished one in the house. So Kyle Schwarber is just like a pro's pro.
He does.
So kudos to him for being a great member of the community.
And it's Iverson with a B. But
yes,
it's very
K-Red in the chat said,
it's close to
wait,
Iverson.
we have a prospect named Iverson Castellano?
Iverson Castellano, which is still very close.
Castellanos.
Right, super close to Iverson Castellanos,
yes.
but it's Iverson Castellano.
Yes. All right, let's go around the horn here. There's some really cool stuff happening in the playoff push, and none cooler than last night when the San Diego Padres, that's what's in, when we play them, we mock them. But right now when they're helping out the Philadelphia Phillies, we love you, Padres. Way to end that game and clinch a playoff spot on a triple play against the Dodgers. So no blood last night in the top bye. In Rich's newsletter, he said, I don't really care about the 1 seed. I care about the bye.
Yeah, agreed.
That's true to a degree. There's really not a team, I think, that can't beat us or we can't beat. So bring it on as long as you get the bye. But the Dodgers did not gain the game last night because the Padres win it on a triple play, clinch their playoff berth. Now, they can still take the division. They started the series 3 games back of the Dodgers. They took game 1 in epic fashion. If they take the next 2, they could be playing for the NL West here. So it's a really, really tight race. I would say bet against the Padres normally the day after a clincher. But you have the division title still up for grabs, so maybe don't bet against them.
Yeah, no, that's a wild game and an incredible matchup. I love, as we talk about, every once in a while sports gives us these like romantic, poetic, full circle types of moments. To have some of these series at this point in the season, a Dodgers-Padres series in the final week of the regular season.
It's awesome.
It's amazing. I know we'll get into the Mets Braves also, but Manny Machado, that moment he's in the clubhouse post game. He's got the beer goggle, the Gucci sunglasses going. He's shirtless. He's got the champagne. I'm surprised you weren't there for that also.
I might have. I thought about going out real quick.
Pop it over.
Yeah,
but
just
it's like
fanboy
to
out,
have a game end on a triple play with so much that's on the line right now. It just is a reminder. There's a lot that teams are playing for. We know on the other side, the Dodgers keep making some history of their own. They've especially Shohei Ohtani. He's now doubled. He's doubled his stolen bases.
So here's the Shohei Ohtani stat. I put it in our sheet here. Shohei Ohtani now has 95 extra base hits, breaking a tie with 1930. Babe Herman. Do baseball guys know who Babe Herman is?
I'll have to do a deep dive.
I've never heard that name before.
I heard that name on The Sandlot once.
Yeah.
Remember the end of The Sandlot?
He's the Legends Never Die.
Yeah.
For most extra base hits in a season in Dodgers history, this record has stood since 1930. So not only does he just create his own new category of 50-50 club, which we'll talk about in a second because somebody else joined him in the 50-50 club.
Oh, yeah, they did.
But Shohei Ohtani now breaks a Babe Ruth record that has stood for almost a century. This guy is a freak, and you mean to tell me that next year he's going to be in the Cy Young race?
I know.
What the hell?
Well, the crazy thing is, so his career high for stolen bases alone prior to the season was 26, and he's already more than doubled that. And for Shohei Ohtani to have the season that he's having, we talked about it, like he looks faster. Not that I ever noticed he wasn't fast, but it's like, whoa, he's fast. Like, he can
huge.
Move.
You don't expect somebody that big to be that
tall.
fast.
I mean, gosh, I just, every time we think we've seen something from him that's like GOAT category and just like this historic moment, he breaks his own history. He's rewriting history. And it is phenomenal to see. And it's crazy to think about all of this greatness we're seeing in this season as a DH, not as a starting pitcher, which
all right, so the great Jason Stark tweeted out a walk-off triple play in the history stat because Jason is the best. So before last night, walk-off triple plays in the history of the Padres. Anybody guess how many they had?
Walk-off triple plays, just one.
0.
Okay.
Walk-off triple plays by any team in a clincher in baseball history.
0.
I was going to say 0.
So, of course, the Padres became the first one to turn and clinch that spot because baseball is beautiful. So that's pretty wild to clinch a playoff spot on a triple play walk-off. That's wild. So really cool stuff there. But as we see here in our Discord, somebody just shared with me that apparently the weather is bad for the Braves-Mets game today. And let me tell you, as somebody that has a couple friends that are close Mets fans, they are not doing well.
No.
They are convinced they are not going to make the playoffs, that they are going to implode like Mets teams always implode. And it is looking unlikely that the Braves-Mets will play today or tomorrow. That means it could be a doubleheader on Monday, a day before the postseason begins. Nightmare scenario for both teams.
Yeah, that would be crazy because then
are we getting that big of a storm
whoever
today?
Plays, it's supposed to be, there's like a...
Or is this down in Atlanta?
Yeah, it's down in Atlanta.
Okay.
But the thing is, whoever is to advance out of those two would then have to jump on a plane and play a late night
on the West Coast.
On the West Coast to San Diego.
Yeah.
Like, it's insane that this is setting again.
Unless the Diamondbacks fall off a cliff,
right?
Then it could be different,
right? So it's going to be something. It just adds an extra layer of craziness. That Braves Mets series to see also Ronald Acuna watching on with his little brother last night. Like I was like, oh, this is such a special moment.
Yeah,
that was so cute. That was so cute.
The other update there, Austin Riley also not going to return for the Braves in the playoffs. Even if they make it and advance, his season is done. He did not progress out of his injury enough. So
Tropical Storm Helene, as Frank is mentioning, Helene is wreaking some havoc down there. It's a hurricane.
Yeah,
no big deal.
It is hurricane season. Unfortunately, that sucks for you. I think the Braves making the playoffs and the Mets imploding is the funnier of the two scenarios.
I think
because that's what I'm rooting for now.
I think a hurricane coming through and postponing both games to force a doubleheader Monday.
This is great.
And forcing like pure chaos.
Great comedic writing
of like
here.
A dumpster fire of everybody scrambling.
Rob Manfred,
like,
the script is great. It's going right to par.
Cannot see it
now
any
I'm trying
better.
to think of the funniest outcome, and I think the funniest outcome is the Mets imploding again.
Okay.
Because my buddies were texting yesterday, like, cancel the season. We've already missed. I'm not getting my hopes up. Don't even want to talk about. Like, they're fully expecting another implosion.
Well, that's how.
So I need to see it personally. Selfishly, I want to revel in it. You know.
That's how Orioles fans are feeling yesterday, also because they had some nerves. Very, very late.
Gleyber Torres. I was watching this.
Yeah.
By the way, have either of you guys checked out what are they calling it? The Race to the Playoffs on TBS. And they're basically doing the red zone for free. It's great. After the Phillies game, I suffered through the final pitch last night. And then I think it's called the Race for the Playoffs. And it's an MLB red zone that they're
Yeah.
doing. And I got to watch Gleyber Torres be an absolute
Awful.
moron with Aaron Judge having the bat in his hand, get thrown out at third base with one out. Completely just ruined a Yankees push there.
Yeah, and with the Twins losing to the Marlins, that helped the Orioles get in, and then we saw Jackson Holiday with his clinch miss of his baby bird bathwater since he couldn't have champagne.
What are you saying?
They had bottles for him of non-alcoholic drinks, and they called it baby bird bathwater actually, and they gave him they had a whole thing set up for him. It was very cute. I
didn't
tweeted
do
it out.
the stroller like Jackson Churio had?
No, they did a toddler size holiday jersey. They did a letterboard that said baby's first clinch miss 2024, just leaned into it. But that was even a crazy game, almost as wild. I mean, the Astros had one too. There's a lot of bottles being popped last night, guys, because the Astros also had a thrilling race to be able to clinch their 4th straight AL West title. They were down by as many as 10 games to the Seattle Mariners mid-June.
Wow.
And still managed to come back and clinch their 4th AL West. So sick of the Astros.
They're annoying.
7 AL West titles in the past 8 seasons.
Is Kyle Tucker alive?
They're winning without him.
Yeah. What deal did the Astros sign with the devil?
Yeah, you absolute idiot, Tyler. Who would take the Astros to go to the World Series this year?
Yeah.
Couldn't it be me?
Yeah, it's the
they're
first
just
time.
always there. Death, taxes, and the Astros.
The first time a team has won the AL West in 4 straight seasons since Oakland did it back in 1971 to 75. 5 times in a row. Stinking
Minnesota
Astros.
Twins now look 2 games out, looking in they thought
and they
had
lost
it
to the
all year.
Marlins.
Oh, that's bad.
And
Detroit gonna party this year if they don't blow this. So the playoff picture is pretty cool around Major League Baseball. The 3rd playoff team. Say what you want about it. It does keep a couple extra teams in the mix here, and it's kind of fun.
I'm so sorry. I know we gotta move along, but just really quickly, while everybody's popping bottles and talking playoffs, there's some teams that are just happy they got a nice 8th inning rally for a comeback win.
I was going to give her
one game away from making history as the worst team in baseball. The Chicago White Sox are absolutely going to do it. They had 3 runs in the 8th inning. It was exciting. They beat the Angels in a 3-2 thrilling victory of the White Sox and the Angels late September, guys. But they are now still tied with the 1962 Mets for the most losses in the modern era. So they're on the verge of breaking that record.
What's really confusing, the 62 Mets don't want the record to be broken.
Well, because you get a chance to say, even if it's bad history, it's your history.
Yeah, I know, but I don't know.
If
you want to remove me from the record books as the biggest loser in the sports history, I'd be for that. But there was a piece on The Athletic 2 weeks ago, and a couple of the guys from the team that are still alive were like, yeah, no, I don't really want to lose the record. I'm like, oh,
let it go.
Yeah,
let it go.
Yeah, all right, it's a weird one to hold on, but you do you. Another weird one to hold on to, Anthony Rendon. He joined a very prestigious club, as Tyler pointed out to us yesterday. Tyler, would you like to tell the good people what club Anthony Rendon just joined?
Anthony Rendon has made 50 IL stints and 50 games suspended in his career.
Wow. So he joined the 50-50 club.
I don't know if those numbers are actually true. It just feels like it. Somebody made a graphic about that. I thought it was funny.
All right, now we have to show this because I chuckled like an 8-year-old extensively last night when I saw this online.
Because you are a child.
The Oakland Athletics released a new hat, and if you're looking for a good Christmas gift for the A's fan in your life, might I offer you the ass hat? You can get your ass hat on the OaklandAthletics.com. There it is. The A's are ass.
Good news, guys. You can earn 37 cents in fan cash on this item. So if you're looking for a Christmas gift, you're going to get 37 cents in fan cash along the way.
How did this get through the beta testing period? It just says ass.
Who okayed this? Who thought of this? I don't know what's worse, the person that thought of this or the person that said, oh, this looks great.
I am
Let's
the
put
ass
this
man,
out.
Jerry.
Let's do it. And do you not see that it actually, what?
It probably has
A's?
a better chance of selling as the ass hat than it does an A's hat.
Maybe they leaned into it.
Maybe they
leaned into,
it's the Cosmo Kramer ass
let's
man
go
hat.
for what's going to sell. This is clickbait. It's going to sell. We're talking about it. If it was just A's or something, we wouldn't be talking about it.
It's the ass hat.
So it's ass.
Get your ass hat here. Get your ass hat. I love ass hat. It's one of my favorite terms. So it just kind of, there's now a literal ass hat. All right, that's going to do it for us here today. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll be back tomorrow at 11 a.m. For Tyler Zulli, for Renee Washington. Get your ass hats here. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks to Bet365 for being our presenting sponsor. And we'll be back tomorrow. We'll see you then.
We all silly like the mayor.